This is the Anna Gale Lines Podcast, where we equip you with the tools and insights to take charge of your life and thrive. And here is your host, life coach and author, Anna Gale Lines.
Welcome to the Anna Gale Lines Podcast. I'm your host, Anna Gale Lines. And today, we're going to dive deep into the profound topic of overcoming rejection in life. Rejection is a universal experience that can leave us feeling disheartened, but it is also an opportunity for tremendous personal development. In this video, we're going to explore empowering strategies to navigate rejection's emotional landscape. Join us as we share insights on embracing rejection as a catalyst for positive change, fostering a resilient mindset, and discovering the strength within. Whether you're facing rejection in your relationships, your career, or your personal endeavors, this video aims to provide valuable tools to navigate these challenges. Remember, rejection is not a reflection of your worth, but an invitation to explore new possibilities. As we embark on this exploration together, let's cultivate a mindset that turns setbacks into stepping stones and rejection into redirection. Stay tuned for practical tips and a renewed perspective on overcoming life's inevitable rejections. So what is rejection? Rejection refers to the act of dismissing or refusing someone or something. It can manifest in various forms such as social exclusion, denial of entry, or refusal of a proposal. Emotionally, rejection often elicits a range of responses, including sadness, anger, anxiety, and decreased self-esteem. So we've all been rejected in life at some point or another, whether it be in our careers, whether it be in our relationships, whether it be in our personal life. But we've all experienced rejection. It is what we do about it that matters. So the first time I remember being rejected, it was when we were picking teams in PE. And I was not athletic, and I was not good at sports, and many times I was the new person in school, and I would always get picked last. I felt rejected. I didn't have as many friends as other people in school. I would want to eat lunch with certain people, and I would get rejected because they didn't get to know me. I was a new person, and most people thought I was standoffish and shy. So I remember getting rejected then as well. And then I remember that when I went to camp, we had this dinner at the end of camp, and we were supposed to take a date, and a guy asked me, and I found out later that he was paid to take me to that dinner. Rejection. And then I was in school, I was about in 6th grade, and a guy calls me to find out my friend's phone number. He didn't call me, he called to find out my friend's phone number. Rejection. But it's not the rejection itself that is the issue. It's what we do with the rejection. Most of the time, rejection is just a signpost that we are settling for less than our best. We are settling a lot of times for things that we think are best for us, but that really are not. And so rejection is just telling us, this is not best for you. You need to move on to something else. You're barking up the wrong tree. And sometimes rejection is just telling us not yet. Like, your novel doesn't need to be published by this particular publisher, but you actually need to take it to the masses. You need to take it to Amazon and sell it for yourself. Maybe you have an album that you want to put out, and a record company has rejected it. That may be just because that is not the right record company for you, and they're not going to do well with your music in the long run. Or maybe they're trying to scam you. Rejection is just a signpost that we're settling for less than our best. According to Psychology Today, there are some interesting facts about why rejection hurts as much as it does. 1. Rejection piggybacks on physical pain pathways in the brain. fMRI studies show that the same areas of the brain become affected when we experience rejection as they do when we experience physical pain. Tylenol reduces the emotional pain rejection elicits. In a study testing the hypothesis that rejection mimics physical pain, researchers gave some participants acetaminophen, which is Tylenol, before asking them to recall a painful rejection experience. People who received the Tylenol reported significantly less emotional pain than subjects who took a sugar pill. Rejection serves a vital function in our evolutionary past. In our hunter-gatherer past, being ostracized from our tribes was akin to a death sentence, as we were unlikely to survive for long on our own. We can relive and re-experience social pain more vividly than we can physical pain. Rejection destabilizes our need to belong. We all have a fundamental need to belong to a group. When we get rejected, this becomes destabilized, and the disconnection we feel adds to our emotional pain. People who get rejected a lot tend to not want to socialize with people anymore, and they become hermits, and they become loners, and they are more to themselves. And rejection creates surges of anger and aggression. In 2001, the Surgeon General of the United States issued a report stating that rejection was a greater risk for adolescent violence than drugs, poverty, or gang membership. Rejection sends us on a mission to seek and destroy our self-esteem. So being rejected repeatedly diminishes our self-esteem. Rejection temporarily lowers our IQ. Being asked to recall a recent rejection event and reliving the experience was enough to cause people to score significantly lower on subsequent IQ tests. Rejection does not respond to reason. Participants were put through an experiment in which they were rejected by strangers. The experiment was rigged. The strangers were confederates of the researchers. Surprisingly, though, even being told that the strangers who had rejected them did not actually reject them did little to ease the emotional pain the participants felt. So what are some ways to overcome rejection? We have to recognize that rejection is normal. We have to understand that rejection is a universal experience, and everyone faces it at some time. And like I said before, rejection is just a signpost that is saying, this is not what is best for you. So that boy who rejected you in high school and didn't want to take you to the prom, that's one of two things. Either he wasn't best for you and would have led you down a path that you're not supposed to be going, or the timing wasn't right and you might meet up with him when you're 50 and divorced or widowed, and you start a new life with him then. But we have to recognize that rejection is just a part of life. It is trying to tell us to not settle for what is wrong for us. And it's telling us not to settle for less than the best. We need to accept rejection, acknowledge it, and accept the rejection. We need to allow ourselves to feel the rejection, feel the emotions, but not to act on it negatively. If we take that rejection and we go and we slash our ex's tires, or we get them in trouble at work, spill all their secrets, that is taking rejection and using it to do something negative. But if we take that rejection, we learn from it, we take that feedback, and we try to do better in our lives, either by, trying other interests or working at that same craft and just doing it in a different manner, we can either accept rejection, feel the pain, and do something negative about it, or we can take that rejection and use it as a catalyst for us to do something good with our lives, to do something better. We need to process those emotions and allow ourselves the time to grieve. Maybe do something special for yourself. Go out to a movie. Go, to Starbucks and get a mocha frappuccino or your favorite beverage. Maybe you go to the mall and you window shop or people watch. Maybe you go out with your friends and instead of talking about the rejection, you plan a girls' trip. You brainstorm ideas for your businesses, or you listen to what's going on in their lives. Maybe you go to therapy because maybe the rejection is causing you to do things that you shouldn't do, like, become addicted to alcohol or get addicted to relationships or get addicted to drugs. But we need that time to grieve, but we need to do something positive about it. We have to give ourselves self-compassion, because a lot of times when we're rejected, specifically for me, it's an all or nothing thing. So if I get feedback at work, I think that I'm not doing my job and that I'm no good at this job and I should just find something else, when I could just fix what's going wrong and keep on going. But instead, I have this all or nothing attitude. We need to give ourselves self-compassion. We need to remember that just because we have one failure does not make us a failure. Just because we have one failure does not make us bad at whatever we're doing. It just means that we need to take the feedback, regroup, and do better. We have to stay positive, because a lot of times we will be down on ourselves. We will decide that we can't do anything good in life because we're not staying positive. We're not seeing the big picture. We're not seeing what we're actually good at. We haven't taken an evaluation of our strengths and our failures and decide to master our weaknesses and play to our strengths. But instead, we are thinking we are a failure. We are not a failure. We're just barking up the wrong tree, or we just don't have all the knowledge, or we haven't mastered our craft enough. But it does not make us a failure. The only thing that makes us a failure is not getting back up and deciding to quit. That makes us a failure. We need to seek new opportunities. Maybe the rejection is telling you that you need to not be in this toxic environment anymore. Maybe it's telling you that your time at this company is done. Maybe it's telling you that your time in this relationship is done and that you should break ties and seek something else. Or in the case of a job, seek something else. Secure the something else and then quit. Give 2 weeks notice. But sometimes rejection is just telling us to seek new opportunities. We could do that by seeking a different publisher or a different way to get our novels published, a different way to tell our story. We could do that by trying painting instead of sculpting. We can do that by, trying a different vocation instead of the one we've got. We can do that by breaking up this relationship and trying a new one. But we've got to learn that rejection gives us the opportunity to try something new. And then we need to learn from the past. We need to identify the lessons that rejection is trying to tell us. What is the feedback that rejection is trying to tell us? Is it just telling us that we need to master our craft more? Is it telling us that this is a toxic environment? Is it telling us that our talents lie elsewhere? What is rejection trying to tell you? And then we need to shift perspective, because we need to view rejection as an opportunity for learning and for growth and not for failure. As I said, the only time you're a failure is when you don't get back up, you don't try again, when you quit. And then we need to engage in physical activities. What do we mean by that? I mean that in order to gain perspective, sometimes we've got to go for a run, go for a walk, exercise, practice yoga, even praying or meditating or clearing our minds. But a lot of times we need to do something physical or creative in order to help us process the rejection better. It clears our minds and it gives us a different perspective. Even if that means that you go and sit in the lobby of a fancy hotel for a few hours and you watch other people go by, you're people watching. That's going to give you a different perspective, a perspective of how other people live in comparison to you and what you can achieve. Because if they can achieve it, you can achieve it. And then you might want to talk about your rejection. Talk about it with your friends. Talk about it with people who are close to you. Talk about it with a therapist. Talking helps process our emotions. A lot of times, if it's your best friend or a close friend, they will tell you, I've been through that too. And that shared experience is going to make you feel a whole lot better. The fact that other people are going through this and you're not the only one is going to make you feel better, and is going to make you have a sense of belonging. And then, like I said, we need to focus on our strengths. We need to remind ourselves what our strengths actually are, because that's going to help boost our self-confidence. Maybe you're not good at music or sports, but you are good at writing, or you're good at speaking, or you're good at, being empathetic to people. Maybe you're good at sports, but you're not good at language. You're not good at reading. We need to focus on our strengths, but we also need to master our weaknesses so that they don't become barriers in our lives. And then we need to set realistic expectations for ourselves. We can't expect to be perfect at everything. And specifically, we can't expect to be perfect on our first day out. There's always going to be a day one. There's always going to be things that we need to learn and that we need to master. Even when we're talented at something, we're still going to have to master it. These baseball players, these basketball players, these football players, they practice. Even though they're naturally talented at the sport, they put in the practice every day in order to be able to play as well as they do. And we need to practice mindfulness. We need to be in the moment. We can't be worrying about the past because we can't change it. We can't worry about the future and what's going to happen. We have to stay present, because the choices we make in the present is what's going to determine our future and how good or how bad it is. We have to stay present, and we have to make the best choices with the information that we have. And we need to seek feedback. That feedback that people give you, take it to heart. But you also have to pick out what is people just being mean and what you can actually use. But we take that feedback and we make whatever we're doing better. We make our job better. We make our paintings better, our writing better, our music better. Whatever it is, our relationships better. Whatever that feedback is, take what is constructive and use it to make a better project. Then we need to visualize success. Too many times we are worrying about the future, but we're not picturing ourselves as a success in the future. We're only picturing what could go wrong. So see yourself in the future doing what you want to do and seeing the big picture. Seeing you sitting in that corner office as the CEO of your own corporation. See yourself as successfully being a chef in a 5-star restaurant. See yourself with a published novel. See yourself with a million followers on whatever social platform you're focusing on. But see yourself as a success. And when you need to surround yourself with supportive people, make sure that your friends are not toxic. Make sure that they're supporting you while giving you good feedback, and that they are not just being jealous of you and giving you toxic information, toxic feedback, gossiping behind your back. And then we need to make sure that we educate ourselves. So all those things that we don't know and that we need to master, learn, take a class, find a mentor, watch YouTube videos on it. But make sure that you're continually learning, because rejection is just a part of life. It is a stepping stone to something better. But if we stay stuck in the land of rejection, we are going to stay stuck and not move on to our future. We will not get to where we want to be. We will not be the success we want to be. We will not achieve those goals if we stay in the land of rejection. Thank you for joining us on this empowering journey of overcoming rejection. Remember, rejection is not the end, but a stepping stone to growth and resilience. If you found value in this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more uplifting content. As we conclude, let's embrace rejection as an opportunity for self-discovery and personal development. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Stay resilient, stay inspired, and remember that every rejection is a redirection towards something greater. Until next time.
Learn more about Anna Gale or to purchase her fiction and nonfiction books, go to AnnaGaleLines.com. That is AnnaGaleLines.com. Right now you can buy 3 ebooks and get the 4th one free. There you can sign up for the newsletter to keep up to date on what is happening in the world of the Anna Gale Lines podcast and her science fiction podcast, The Space-Tastic Mysteries, where you can hear installments of her novels. To follow her on social media, it is Anna Gale Lines on Twitter, Lady Anna Gale on TikTok, Anna Gale Lines Artist on Instagram, at the Anna Gale Lines podcast on YouTube. You can join the Facebook page at Author Anna Gale. Thank you for listening and thank you for being you.